I think this is recording now. Hi there. My name is Elle. You can call me Curiously Queer or CQ. That doesn't work. I am Curiously Queer. You can call me CQ or Elle, whichever floats your boat. I don't make videos that often, and by that I mean I've only ever made one video, and that was a response to this group of Girl Scouts who wanted you to boycott Girl Scout cookies because they were accepting trans kids. But this time I wanted to talk about something that kind of affects us all as in the queer community. Something that, but not just in the queer community, in racial minorities and as feminists, as every kind of minority. I think this is something we should talk about, and something that should be an important topic that a lot of people talk about. This was kind of sparked by Alan Carr did a advert for PETA talking about neutering your animals, your pets, your cats, your dogs, and they had him refer to himself as a fairy. And I know if you're unfamiliar with Alan Carr, he has a comedy show, or he had a comedy show. I haven't really been keeping up with Alan Carr that all often. I don't know if you can hear that, but my dad's sort of singing downstairs while he cooks. Never mind. Alan Carr has a show called The Tooth Fairy, which is kind of a play on things. But yeah. Alan Carr has a show called The Tooth Fairy, and they've sort of played that into his sexuality, and they've used his sexuality again in the advert for PETA, and I'm not quite sure what the advert is. I think they refer to him as be a fairy and neuter your pets, and I'm not really sure why neutering your pets and being a fairy connects. But which is why I think this is kind of a problem. I mean, I know that Alan Carr has gotten a lot of flack for this. Himself. So this isn't really about him. Subsequently I saw on PJ Brannan's Twitter, who is an actor who played on Hollyoaks, which is where I first heard of him. He had written a piece for Gay Times about this advertisement, and about how in an attempt to take back words that are possibly offensive, the slurs and the problematic terms used, thrown around by homophobes and racists and misogynists, in his attempt to take these terms back and try to twist the meaning into just like a general term for each other, we forget that we're kind of empowering homophobes and racists and misogynists and bigots. We're empowering them, and we're allowing them to call us these names. And I've already realised this before, when I have called myself a number of problematic terms and a lot of offensive slurs. I've referred to myself as these. I've jokingly referred to myself as greedy. I have used the word dyke, and I've used the word faggot, and I've thrown around these terms a lot in my circle of queer friends, which consists of me and like 3 other queer people. And it wasn't until somebody had called me one of these names, and somebody else said, "That's offensive, you should apologise," and they replied with, "What? She calls himself this all the time." That I really thought, is this okay? Should I be calling myself these names if it just makes these hateful people think that it's okay for them to call me these names too. And so that got me thinking. And then this is the kind of embarrassing part. I was watching Mean Girls, because everybody watches Mean Girls, because it's kind of, it's up there. It's an iconic film, it's Mean Girls. And it's in that scene with Tina Fey talking to all the girls and Damien, and saying that if we call each other whores and sluts or bitches and sluts, it just makes it okay for guys to call us that too. And that's when it hit me. That's what I'm doing. I'm making it okay for them, bigots, to call me these names. And we're making it okay for bigots to call each other names because they think they can get away with it because we're doing it too. You know? If, oh God. I'm not crying, it's just really, really dusty in my room. Don't clean it often. But no. They just think it's okay because if we're calling each other these names, then there mustn't be anything wrong with it, and they won't get in trouble because it's just a generalised term, but they still forget that it still hurts. And I think we forget that it still hurts because we're using these names so callously, we're just throwing them around like it's no big deal. And that's really what this video is about. How it's kind of like instead of focusing on educating homophobes and instead of talking to people about how the terms are offensive, we're just sort of giving up on it and just accepting that we're going to be called these things, and so we started trying to use them ourselves, but it's not working because we're always going to offend somebody. And a lot of times we're doing it intentionally. I've always thought that maybe we should, instead of thinking about how we're offending somebody, we should think about why we're offending somebody, and if we're doing this on purpose. And we are doing this on purpose. We are intentionally calling these people, calling each other and ourselves these offensive terms because we think it's going to change something, but it's not. The only thing it's changing is it's changing things back to how they were after we've made the smallest amount of change. Smallest amount of positive change by calling each other by these offensive terms and using these slurs. We're just changing things back to how they used to be. And when instead we could be educating the people who call us these names and telling them that this isn't okay because it makes me feel like shit. It makes me feel terrible. You know? And if they apologise and they become understanding and they say that they won't use these terms again, then that's great, and that's good, then we've made a change. But if they refuse that and they just continue to call us these terms and slurs, then that's how we know which people to cut out of his life. And so as well as educating people, and it's a really good way of finding out who means it and who doesn't, who's just following along with the crowd and who's actively trying to make you feel like shit. Which is another important part of why we shouldn't be using these slurs, because it makes it difficult to sort of find out who is doing this by accident and who just wants to hurt us. Yeah, that's it really. I feel like I've just made a video just telling people to be nice to each other and not to call each other names, which is kind of what we learn in primary school. You know, be nice to kids, don't call each other names. And the fact that we are grown men and women and grown people in general, grown people. I'm a grown person, you are a grown person, we are all grown people, and we still have to learn these basic lessons about being nice to each other. I think that's a problem. That's his biggest problem so far. Right now, that's his biggest problem, the fact that we still have to learn basic rules. Basic playground rules, we still have to learn these things. But yeah, that's it. That's really all I wanted to say. I will post a link to PJ Brennan's article in Gay Times in the description, because I think it's eye-opening, really, I think. And next time you see somebody calling each other a faggot or a dyke or a fairy, call them out on it. Don't just accept it. Or at least let them know that you could be hurting somebody, because they should already know. Yeah, that's it really. So, I will see you next time I'm sort of bored and want to talk to my camera, or kind of thinking about pointless shit, or trying to stay on neutral ground, or just really want to express myself. I don't know. I will see you the next time I make a video. So